So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, there is also a spiritual body. So also it is written, first man Adam became a living soul. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. However, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, then the spiritual. The first man is from the earth, earthy. The second man is from heaven. Within the concept of the resurrection of the dead, we have a simple pattern which I introduced in part 1 of this series. This pattern is threefold, consisting of living, death, then life. Living and life are accounted for in the first man Adam and last Adam, or the natural body and the spiritual body. But where is death, the second stage of this process? Well, it's sandwiched between the first and last Adam. Paul clarifies this earlier in 1 Corinthians 15. But someone will say, how are the dead raised up, and with what body do they come? Foolish one, what you sow is not made alive unless it dies. Death. Not a comfortable subject, but easier to accept once we recognize its purpose in the principle of sowing and reaping. Paul says that the resurrection of the dead is sown a natural body and raised a spiritual body. Since the natural is first, then the first man, Adam, denotes the natural, corresponding to the old man or self. Here's what Paul says about the natural man. But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. Adam, the first or natural man, called a living soul in Genesis 2:7 and 1 Corinthians 15:45, accounts for the living stage of the threefold process of resurrection. Since the natural man cannot receive or know the things of the Spirit of God, then disobedience to God is inevitable, is it not? This disobedience brings in the second stage of the threefold process of resurrection, which is death. But now, take a moment and consider the following words of our Savior. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. And they divided his garments and cast lots. Friend, for whom did Jesus ask forgiveness? Those who do not know what they do. Since all of us begin our earthly existence as a natural man, would this not be all of us? Note that they divided his garments. Here's what John records. When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his garments and divided them into 4 parts. 4 parts. 4 is the number of creation, the world number. Did Jesus not die for the world? And his garments? Then they were natural garments, but now they are spiritual, denoting righteousness and life. Now, when addressing Adam's disobedience, Paul says this, Therefore, as through one man's offense, judgment came to all men, resulting in condemnation, even so through one man's righteous act, the free gift came to all men, resulting in justification of life. Whereas by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so also by one man's obedience many will be made righteous. The subject of Romans 5 contrasts Adam and Christ, agreeing with the first and last Adam in 1 Corinthians 15. So as noted, the offense of the one refers to the first man Adam, while the righteous act of the one refers to the last. In the first, judgment comes to all men, while in the second, the free gift comes to all men, agreeing perfectly with 1 Corinthians 15:22, and the many referring to this all. It is here that we must be careful not to think of Adam as just an individual, but as representative of the natural man in all of us. This Hebrew word is first rendered man, meaning mankind, in Genesis 1:26, before it's rendered Adam in Genesis 2:19. Found 552 times in the King James Old Testament, most often rendered man and not Adam. And my point, the one man's offense reflects the natural body or man in everyone. And just as the story of Adam and Eve portrays the disobedience due to their inability to receive or know the things of the Spirit of God, the same is true for each of us when we come into this world. We enter as living souls or natural beings, very much innocent, but unable to receive or know the things of the Spirit of God. So, within a short period of time, we, like Adam and Eve, disobey and descend into death. This death does not refer to what happens with the human form, to our descent from natural to carnal. Note the following. For those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. So then, those who are in the flesh cannot please God. The common thought today is that death refers to the passing of this human form. There is certainly some truth to this, but as noted, Paul states that when we set our minds on the things of the flesh, that this is death. Furthermore, the manifestation of this mindset is enmity or hostility against God, because it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. Sounds similar to the natural man, does it not? But there is a difference. The natural man cannot receive or know the things of God due to its ignorance and inability to discern spiritual things. But the carnal man, this is enmity against God, revealing an animosity that arises out of pride, the inordinate love of the self. This love for the self and its hostility is not instantaneous, but forms gradually as we mature from infancy to childhood, to adolescence, to adulthood, and are taught to embrace the culture into which we are born. This element of pride, as it were, is pictured in the Genesis story as the serpent. So here's the thing. We're flesh. Therefore, it's only logical that we must consider its needs, both inwardly and outwardly. But the problem arises when we think more highly of this human form than we should, so much so that we see ourselves as better than others and thus more deserving. This, my friend, is the essence of the carnal man, and that leads to destruction in every form. Do we need proof? Well, that's easy. Take a look across the world and consider all the conflicts and misery we're inflicting on each other. Why is this? Well, at its basic level, it's due to what's between our ears, to our way of thinking, to our ideologies and beliefs about what we deem as God and what we think about ourselves. And it doesn't matter which belief you choose to examine, if it teaches in any way that we are better for any reason, then it's deception. This is prejudice cloaked in self-righteousness. Based on what we have considered, the first man, Adam, typifies both the natural and carnal aspects of our being. This shows that the old self, then, is the carnal self, the one formed out of pride, out of thinking more highly of ourselves than we should. And the evidence, as we learned, it's destruction, and confirmed by the following passages. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well-advised is wisdom. What did Paul mean by the old man or self? It's our former manner of life and body of sin, our first man Adam, shaped in pride by our family, friends, and culture. It is a mindset, a way of thinking, an identity, as it were, based on the deception of its own self-importance. Therefore, the old self is but an illusion, for a lie has no substance. It is darkness. But when the lies are purged, then the illusion dissipates, and the old self is destroyed. That, my friend, is why so many of us feel the need to seek the truth. The battle is inward, between the remaining vestiges of the old man and the righteous essence of the new. This, I believe, is Gog and Magog, the true Armageddon, the present battle between the flood of deception from the nations in every corner of the world and the still small voice of Christ within. Dear brother and sister, the wheat and tares are side by side, and both are within. More to come, so be sure to join me next time. And I sincerely thank you for being a part of Great of Wheat Publishing.